to resign.
Resign, Holly!
The new push from freshman Congresswoman Cori Bush to remove Senator Josh Hawley from office.
Resignation or removal.
And Donald Trump represents a clear and present danger to the health and safety of the American people, as well as our democracy.
The steps House Democrats are taking today to kick the president out of the White House.
Grab the coats. It's a cold start to the day with 20s and teens for wind chills. We've got warmer weather on the way. We'll show you when it's set to arrive.
Reluctant to vaccinate.
What we're dealing here with is the fear of the unknown.
How local leaders plan to put your mind at ease if you're concerned about rolling up your sleeve.
Plus, preparing for a safe second semester. The encouraging study that pushes for in-person learning.
You're watching Today in St. Louis.
All eyes on our nation's capital this morning. This is a live look at Capitol Hill, where House Democrats say they are once again preparing articles of impeachment against the president, this time accusing him of inciting an insurrection for the violent riots that took place at the Capitol. Many Democrats and some Republicans are calling on the president to just go ahead and resign. Others want Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove him from office. So this morning, we are asking you, what do you think? Should President Trump be impeached? You can let us know by voting on the 5 on Your Side app. Coming up, we'll have the very latest on this growing pressure on the president. Plus, the First Lady breaks her silence about Wednesday's Capitol riots. A lot to get to on this Monday morning. Good morning to you, January 11th. I'm Allie Corey.
Good morning, I'm Rennie Knott. Before we jump into our top news stories of the day, let's send it over to our Anthony Slaughter, who's tracking some teeth-chattering temperatures out there.
Yeah, temperatures this morning are in the 20s. We've got wind chills in the teens, so do bundle up. The good news, this is the last day of bitterly cold weather. In fact, we were cloudy and cold through the weekend with very little sunshine. Today, we will see more sun as we get into the afternoon, but it's a cold morning here in St. Louis and across Missouri and Illinois. These are your actual air temperatures. Again, all below freezing right now. Jeff City at 32, Lake of the Ozarks 28, Chesterfield at 27, Scott Air Force Base and Mount Vernon at 27 as well. You factor in the wind, it feels even colder. Highs today back into the 30s. The good news, as I mentioned, we see sunshine later today and a warming trend for the week ahead. We'll show you just how warm those numbers will go coming up in just a little bit. Monica's here tracking that Monday morning commute. It started off kind of rough. What's going on now?
Boy, it really did. Yeah, I was asking Anthony if there was any problems on the roads because we had 2 highway closures, a multi-vehicle accident on 64 around Market and 270 westbound at West Florissant. Those got out of the way, fortunately, before the 5 o'clock hour came around. Now we've just been talking about stalls. The latest 270 southbound right around Tesson Ferry. We had 170 at 70 and 270 at Dorset. Looking at some new cameras, 141 drivers. Here's Clayton Road for you. The 270 367 view, 370 at Truman, and 44 downtown near Broadway and Cass.
All right, Monica, thanks. We're following breaking news from overnight. At least one pet is dead after a fire destroys a Woodson Terrace home. This all happened around 10:30 last night on Harold Drive. You can see here dozens of firefighters working to try and control the smoke. No word on what started the fire, but as you can see from the images here, the house is a total loss.
Happening today in our nation's capital, a push to remove Missouri freshman Senator Josh Hawley and other Republicans from office. Ryan Dean has been following the fallout for Senator Hawley for several days now. He joins us live from downtown with the very latest on this developing story. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Rennie. Yeah, the calls are getting louder. Over the weekend, there was actually a protest here in front of the old courthouse, and at one time, they actually painted "Resign Hawley" on the street. That has since been removed. There's salt on the road this morning. Now, the latest push is from a Missouri congresswoman. Today, Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush is going after Senator Josh Hawley and other Republicans who questioned the integrity of the election. The Democrat tweeting she'll introduce a resolution to expel the members of Congress who tried to overturn the election and incited a white supremacist coup attempt that has left people dead. They have violated the 14th Amendment. We can't have unity without accountability. While Senator Hawley was quiet over the weekend, not releasing any public statements, both sides of the aisle sounding off on him and Senator Cruz.
They're going to have a lot of soul searching to do, and the problem is they were complicit in the big lie, this lie that that Donald Trump won the election in a landslide and it was all stolen.
I don't know how they can live with themselves knowing that people have died because of their words and actions.
5 on your side political analyst Anita Mannion says it's unlikely that Senator Hawley will be removed from office despite the push.
You would have to have 3/4 of the Senate voting to do that. So I don't see that happening.
We've reached out to Senator Hawley for comment regarding Congresswoman Bush's resolution she plans to introduce today. We have yet to get a response. But late last week, he issued a statement condemning the riots and said he had no plans to resign. Quote, "I will never apologize for giving voice to millions of Missourians and Americans who have concerns about the integrity of our elections. That's my job, and I will keep doing it." So while it is unlikely that he will be removed from office, says our political analyst, she says it's not great, though, when you don't have friends in the Senate. She says that could cost him key committee seats. That is the very latest. I'm Ryan Dean, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you, Ryan. This now just into our newsroom. We're hearing from the First Lady about the attacks on the Capitol from last Wednesday. In her statement, Melania Trump says, "I am disappointed and disheartened with what happened last week. I find it shameful that surrounding these tragic events, there has been salacious gossip, unwarranted personal attacks, and false misleading accusations on me from people who are looking to be relevant and have an agenda. This time is solely about healing our country and its citizens. It should not be for personal gain." We will have this entire statement on the 5 on Your Side app coming up later this morning.
Well, it is a new week, and with it, there are growing calls for the president to be removed. If not by the 25th Amendment, then by impeachment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will try to force Vice President Pence and the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment today. The VP will have 24 hours to respond, and if he declines, an article of impeachment charging the president with incitement of insurrection will be introduced. More Republicans have publicly said they, too, think the president should resign or be removed from office. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt didn't go that far, but here's what he said on Face the Nation.
I think the president's decisions and his actions that day and leading up to that day on this topic were clearly reckless. My personal view is that the president touched the hot stove on Wednesday and is unlikely to touch it again.
Now, even if the House moves quickly to impeach the president, it's unlikely a trial would happen before Inauguration Day. Many lawmakers have said they want to give President-elect Biden his 100 days to get his agenda off and running. Impeachment could prevent, though, President Trump from running again in 2024. So this morning, we are asking you, do you think that the president should be impeached? And it looks like right now, 79% of you are saying yes. You can still weigh in. It's easy. You can vote on the 5 on Your Side app or by going to ksdk.com/vote now.
Now to the 3 things you need to know this morning about the coronavirus. The much anticipated post-holiday surge of COVID cases has yet to show up in St. Louis hospitals. The 7-day moving average has actually dropped to 787, but both Missouri and Illinois are reporting a slight uptick in new positive cases.
But across the country, Saturday was a record-breaking day for new COVID cases. According to NBC, the U.S. reported more than 278,000 cases. This beats the previous record set Friday at 269,000. This morning, worldwide cases topped 90 million.
If you need a test beginning today, there are more places that you could choose from. Set your clock for 9 o'clock this morning. That's when new locations in Jefferson, St. Charles, St. Louis counties, and in the city will open. Anybody that lives in Missouri can be tested no matter what county you live in. You do need to reserve a spot online at the health department's website.
If you have any questions about the coronavirus, we have an entire section up on our website to help answer those questions for you. By the way, the app is free to download in the App Store.
All right, coming up here on 6:09, the one thing you need to know in your weather forecast today is we'll finally see some sunshine after being cloudy and cold over the weekend. So grab the shades. By this afternoon, expect to see that sun. Monica, what's the one thing you're watching on the roads this morning?
We're watching you move along. Fortunately, that wasn't the case early this morning with a ton of closures. Also, a note that there's a section of the westbound lane of McClay Road in St. Peters. It will be closed all week for a water line repair.
A father and son watching the game is a time-honored tradition, but not all get to experience it. And that's why this next tweet from former Rams great Kurt Warner is making my morning, folks. He tweeted this photo of him and his son watching the NFL wildcard game, saying he's never watched a football game with me until now. Zach, who is 31 years of age, suffered a traumatic brain injury at just 4 months old. The wildcard game was broadcast on Nickelodeon, one of Zach's favorite channels. And it featured a SpongeBob pregame show, lots of gags, and as you can see right there, animated slime.
That's awesome. Still ahead, Rennie, as students begin to head back to the real classroom, we're answering the question of if it's safe. Well, there's a reassuring study that says yes.
Plus, duck boats could return to Table Rock Lake this spring. What's being done to prevent another tragedy on the water?
This 5 on Your Side newscast is sponsored by Emo's Pizza. Emo's, the square beyond compare.
Thanks for waking up with Today in St. Louis with Allie Corey, Rennie Knott, weather with Anthony Slaughter, and Monica Adams on traffic. You're watching Today in St. Louis.
Welcome back, everyone. You're taking a live look this Monday morning in St. Charles, down near the Ameristar Casino, where all is calm and quiet. We do have cloudy skies this morning, very cold temperatures, starting off in the 20s with wind chills in the teens. A warmer week on tap. We'll see temperatures in the 50s by the middle of the week. We'll show you that full forecast coming up.
Now to a look at the top stories from across the bi-state. Police are searching for answers after 2 people were found dead inside of a home in Washington, Missouri. Officers responded to a home on Lewis Street on Saturday morning. They found a woman dead in the driveway and a man dead inside. A 1-year-old child inside the home was not hurt. Police believe it was a domestic crime. Duck boat tours may return to Table Rock Lake this spring. A group called Branson Duck Tours is behind this move. They say their boats will not resemble the World War II era amphibious boats that were in use when a boat sank in the lake during a storm back in 2018, killing 17 people. Branson officials say the city has not received a business license application as of yet.
Well, more St. Louis area students are slowly returning to school for in-person learning. But is it safe? A number of new studies say it is, even with the current surge in cases. Our Morgan Young spoke with parents to see how they feel about sending their kids back to the classroom.
He has so many distractions and it's just different.
It's no secret, the whole at-home school thing is not ideal.
He went from being an A/B, somewhat of a C student, to now having a couple D's and F's.
For Susie Bromeyer's senior Jalen,
awful. He's struggling.
What do you think for your son is the biggest difference there?
Trying to manage everything on his own at home.
She credits the teachers, calling them helpful, but does not deny it has been a struggle. So the fact that he and the rest of the high schoolers in the Melville School District will start going back to the real classroom 2 days a week,
I'm ecstatic.
And so is he. Now, the district used a couple of studies to back up this decision, like this one. And it updates safety guidelines for in-person learning and states children need to be in school for their development and that opening schools won't significantly impact transmission. And there's this one from Brown University, reversing recommendations to close from July and stating it's safe to open, even at high levels of spread, if they take the right safety steps. Now, there is this study from the National Center for Research and Education Access and Choice. It says schools are safe to reopen in counties with fewer than 44 new COVID hospitalizations per 100,000 people per week. Now, none of our local counties meet that mark, but the parents I spoke with say they want the choice.
So he goes to school 2 days a week, and he seems to be doing much better since that's happened.
Megan Reek's son is in 8th grade in the Melville district, where middle schoolers went back for 2 in-person days last semester. She says after watching one of her daughters graduate in a pandemic last spring and helping her other daughter maneuver her senior year now, welcoming back high schoolers for 2 days and elementary students for 5 days is a good move.
I think they need to be with their peers and they just need to have that interaction.
Morgan Young, 5 on your side.
Like most school districts, Melville will continue to offer an all virtual learning option. You can read more about reopening plans for districts in our area by looking for this story in the 5 on your side app.
A driver dies behind the wheel of a car after he is shot in the head. That story tops our morning rush. It happened yesterday in North St. Louis near the intersection of Natural Bridge and Goodfellow. After the shooting, the man crashed his car. No word on if anyone else was hurt or if police have made any arrest. The killing marks the city's 7th homicide in the new year. St. Louis County Police say a double shooting in Spanish Lake was a murder-suicide. Police say 19-year-old Brian Thurman killed his passenger, 51-year-old Denise Edwards, before getting out of the car and killing himself. We're told that the two knew one another, but it's not clear what the relationship was. No word on what led up to the shooting.
I'm Savannah Louie reporting in Clayton as we're seeing a new issue creep into the vaccine rollout. Healthcare workers say they feel reluctant to get it due to fear of the unknown and misinformation. Leaders are trying to settle the uneasiness by sharing success stories and by getting vaccinated first. Sam Page will address vaccine distribution in the county today at 8:30.
Our local microbreweries are getting some help from the new stimulus package. As part of the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act, a hard-fought federal excise tax relief measure for small breweries, distilleries, and winemakers. It cuts the tax on the first 60,000 barrels produced each year from $7 a barrel down to $3.50.
Heading out for your Monday morning commute, and we had some early morning issues. They were out of the way by 5 a.m., which was a good thing because we were talking highway closures. 270 in North County around West Florissant, and then 64 westbound right around the area of Market. Now it's just been stalls. The latest 364 eastbound right around Arena Parkway. Now, for those on 141, this is in West County as you travel near Clayton Road. 270, little volume as you head westbound right around 367. Here's 370 if you want to take that as an alternate at Truman, and then downtown 44. Broadway and Cass. The 270 drive coming out of Illinois looking good as you head from 255 pushing in towards 170 or around towards 70. Out in Wentzville, Lake St. Louis and O'Fallon, you're looking great. You can hop off onto 370 into Bridgeton or take the 370 drive into Maryland Heights. 55 out of Jefferson County, 44 in Franklin County, coming across 141 or Lindbergh, and then downtown. A live look for you as you take the Poplar Street Bridge. All right, over to Anthony we go. Cold weather, but you say some sunshine this afternoon.
Yeah, finally. After seeing cloudy skies for the last 4 days since Thursday, we hadn't seen the sun. So it'll be a nice break from all the cold, cloudy weather that we've had over the weekend. Now, our jet stream is way south across parts of Texas. That's where you're getting some snow this morning. Well, you had some snow from Texas earlier this weekend. Now this morning, we're getting it out towards Alabama, Mississippi. But the reason being, you've got our jet stream that's taking a big dip south, and that's why we were so cold this weekend. This is the polar jet stream. It's usually way north across the northern tier states, and once it dips farther south, well, we're on the northern end of it, and you get that polar air that sinks right here across the bi-state. That's usually capped up across parts of the North Pole. Yesterday, for example, morning temperature was 28. The high was only 30, so we only moved 2 degrees yesterday. We do have warmer weather on the way. That's sitting across the desert Southwest and across Southern California. That starts to move in. As soon as tomorrow, we'll see warmer temperatures back into the 40s to near 50 degrees tomorrow, mid-50s by the middle of the week. Cloudy skies here across the region from O'Fallon back towards Farmington, even here in downtown. The numbers are cold once again this morning, no big surprise. Mid to upper 20s, but you factor in that wind chill, and while you've got temperatures in the 20s, it feels like 18 for you in Salem, Missouri. It feels like 24 for you in Litchfield, 26 in Alton, and it feels like 19 over in Scott Air Force Base. So cold to say the least this morning. By the time we get into the afternoon with some sunshine, we'll see temperatures this afternoon back into the mid to upper 30s. So today is still a cold day, but tomorrow we'll get close to 50, still in the upper 40s. The warmest day will be Wednesday, when we'll see temperatures climb into the mid to upper 50s. And then on Thursday, clouds increase. A cold front starts to move in. This may give us some showers, but right now it doesn't look like we'll have a lot of moisture. The bigger story with that cold front is it's got more cold air to work with. So by the weekend, temperatures fall right back into the 30s. So this week we'll at least get a break from some of that cold weather. Wednesday and Thursday back into the low to mid 50s. Cold front swings through, and it's winter as usual here in St. Louis, back into the 30s for the upcoming weekend.
All right, Anthony, thanks. Coming up on Today in St. Louis, crying foul over the First Amendment. Our Verified team looks into where constitutional rights end and corporate rights begin.
But first, it's a growing crisis in St. Louis. The efforts one man is doing to make it easier to get access to healthy food.
Grab your coats and bundle up, because it's the season for winter weather in St. Louis. And when winter weather hits, 5 on your side is here with Storm Alert. When you see Storm Alert, make sure to keep up to date with our hourly updates and the most accurate storm coverage by area. In these hectic times, you need a forecast you can rely on. 5 on your side Storm Alert.
Unfortunately, in Milo, not everyone has the opportunity to get fresh foods to eat. We have what are known as food deserts in the city. Well, Tyran Lewis decided to do something about it in his neighborhood by literally getting his hands dirty. He's on a mission to give his neighbors easier access to healthier foods. It's backbreaking work.
Man, now I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard work.
Work that provides Tyran Lewis with nourishment.
Wanted some fresh produce
that he couldn't find closer to his home in St. Louis City.
In my community, like, you know, I'm in a food desert.
He had to leave his community and go to places like Soulard Market.
Well, why my neighborhood don't look like this?
It got him thinking.
So I'm gonna do something about it.
That's something.
I was sitting on my porch on a vacant lot. So I was like, man, I'd love to put some food over there.
Inspiring the former teacher.
So I used to teach in the St. Louis Public School District.
To learn how to farm a few years ago.
It kind of crept up on me.
He actually had the farming genes in him the entire time.
I'm a 4th generational farmer.
He's doing a pretty good job of picking up the family business.
I started out with 12,000 square feet, now I got 3.5 acres.
He's now able to supply his neighbors with fresh foods.
Some of everything, veggies and fruit.
That they were lacking.
The community tell me it's important.
Tyran's efforts are not going unnoticed. He recently received a $50,000 grant from UMSL's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Accelerator program. He already has plans.
My plan is to create a mobile farmers market.
The accidental farmer.
In 2nd grade, I had an assignment, like, you know, which one of you gonna grow up, and I said the first black president.
May not be going to the White House, but he does have a future home in mind.
A homestead. I have my house on, like, you know, some acres, you know, 10 plus.
More room to grow.
See it develop, it's like, wow.
Providing more healthy options for his urban neighbors.
You got good fresh produce and good food, and you think differently, you know, something, you move different, you know. So that's everything tied together.
That is incredible. All right, it's time for today's Pet for Adoption. Today's comes from the Humane Society of Missouri. Come over and take a look at this spunky 6-month-old boxer mix. This is Jessie. We're told she is a happy, friendly, and very energetic puppy looking for her forever family to play with. If you would like to meet Jessie, you can call the Humane Society of Missouri. Time for our Sammy Star this morning. This is Lola. Oh, Lola is an 8-year-old Maltese who loves to play dress up. Love the ponytail there. Thanks to Suzanne for sending in this adorable picture of Lola. If you want to see your pet on TV, it is easy. Just send us a picture. You can tweet it. Just make sure you include a little information and you use the hashtag SammyStars.
Coming up next on Today in St. Louis, PGA on the move, why next year's championship is moving to a new location.
Plus, trouble in Washington, the growing support for President Trump to step down from office.
A push for impeachment.
The president spiraled down into a kind of madness that was different.
A breakdown of how the House will take its first steps toward removing President Trump from office after a deadly riot at the Capitol.
Plus, violating the First Amendment, the most recent social media ban against the president. Plus, we verify if companies are breaching those First Amendment rights.
Expecting to see some sunshine later today and warmer temperatures arrive as soon as tomorrow. We'll show you just how warm those numbers will go.
Fear of the unknown.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories flying around on social media.
I'll explain how doctors and local leaders plan to clear up any concerns you have about the COVID-19 vaccine.
You're watching Today in St. Louis.
Brr, we are waking up to some chilly temperatures to start your Monday morning. This is a live look at I-70 near the Blanchette Bridge, where some of you are seeing temperatures in the 20s. but in some parts of the bi-state, it feels like temps are in the teens. So if you are up right now, you're getting dressed, you do want to make sure that you bundle up because it is a cold one. As we say, good Monday morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. January 11th, 2021. I'm Allie Corey.
Good morning, I'm Rennie Knott. Let's get right over to Anthony Slaughter right now. And Anthony, it is downright frigid outside.
Yeah, temperatures are in the 20s, wind chills in the teens, and today is going to be the coldest of the next several with highs only in the 30s. So again, bundle up. The good news here on this Monday, we will see some sunshine once we get into the afternoon hours, something we haven't seen in about 4 days. We're at 27 right now in Chesterfield, 27 at Scott Air Force Base, and most of the rest of the region in the mid to upper 20s. Again, those wind chills for some in the teens. Highs today only in the 30s, but at least again, we'll see some afternoon sunshine. Warmer temperatures on the way as soon as tomorrow. In fact, by the middle of the week, we're in the 50s. We'll show you that coming up in that full forecast. Monica's here tracking the morning commute. Seems like it started off hard, but now things are a little bit easier. What's going on right now?
It did. For those of you waking up, what he's talking about is highway closures. Yeah, when we first came in, 64 westbound was closed around Market. 270 westbound then closed like 10 minutes later, right around the area of West Florissant. I was a little worried, but then those got out of the way by 5 a.m. Everything has just been stalls, not even really a lot of volume. We've been bringing up different camera views. 70 Cave Springs area looking good for St. Charles County drivers. Dorset at 270 up north. Here's 55 in Arnold right around Church, and 44 near the Merrimack River for our Fenton drivers.
We're taking a live look now at the U.S. Capitol, where pressure is growing for President Trump to resign or be removed from office following last week's attack at the Capitol. Now more Republicans are joining the call for the president to leave office before Inauguration Day. Let's explain how the process could start as soon as today. The House of Representatives plans to introduce articles of impeachment this week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was on 60 Minutes last night.
This president is guilty of inciting insurrection. He has to pay a price for that.
Multiple sources tell NBC that Vice President Mike Pence is unlikely to use the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. More than 200 House members and 37 senators want the president to resign or be removed.
Every minute and every hour that he is in office represents a clear and present danger.
You know, Donald Trump may be in the Twitter penalty box, but he still has access to the nuclear codes. That's a frightening prospect.
Some believe a trial can wait.
Let's give President-elect Biden the 100 days he needs to get his agenda off and running.
Republicans are lining up against the president.
The best way for our country, Chuck, is for the president to resign and go away as soon as possible.
As Washington remembers the Capitol police officer who died in last week's riot, D.C.'s mayor will ask President Trump to start inauguration security today.
This inauguration preparation has to be different than any other inauguration with only 10 days to go.
NBC News has learned Capitol Police were warned of possible violence. Senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News those warnings came from both the FBI and New York police, in addition to social media posts days and weeks before. Now, all morning long, we've been asking you, do you think President Trump should be impeached? Right now, 78% of you are saying yes, 22% are saying no. You still have time to vote. Just head to the 5 on Your Side app and tap the Vote Now section. Our team coverage continues as Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is facing backlash after Wednesday's riots.
And I'm Ryan Dean in downtown St. Louis, where the calls for Senator Hawley to resign are getting louder. Today, Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush says she will push for Senator Josh Hawley's removal from office, saying his efforts to overturn election results incited the deadly riots at the U.S. Capitol. Our political analyst says it's unlikely Hawley will be removed from office. Hawley was quiet over the weekend, but last week he condemned the attacks and said he has no plans to resign.
Meantime, the president is running out of ways to reach his supporters as he's banned from nearly every social media platform. Overnight, Amazon canceled the Parler app, a move Apple and Google made over the weekend, leaving the app with nowhere to call home. It's now offline. Parler, which coins itself as unbiased social media, became the choice of right-wing extremists after Twitter banned the president for life and Facebook and Instagram suspended him indefinitely. Amazon releasing a statement saying that it found Parler, quote, unable to effectively identify and remove content that encourages or incites violence against others. Parler's CEO said in a statement that tech giants had acted in a, quote, coordinated effort to completely remove free speech off the internet.
Sad day when big tech has more power than big government, that they can censor the president of the United States.
Whether it's silencing him, of course it's not. He could call a press conference. What it does do is take away, a voice, at least on these platforms, to one of the most important voices of disinformation, which was the president.
Twitter now warning of, quote, plans for future armed protests have already begun proliferating on and off Twitter, including a proposed secondary attack on the U.S. Capitol and state Capitol buildings on January 17th of 2021. Coming up in just about 10 minutes, we verify if social media companies are violating the First Amendment by making these moves. And of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest developments unfolding in our nation's capital. Just be sure to have the 5 on Your Side app downloaded to your smartphone and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the latest breaking news.
In a couple of hours, we will learn more about how the COVID-19 vaccine will be distributed in St. Louis County. This comes amid another obstacle in the vaccine rollout. Our Savannah Louie joins us now live from Clayton to explain. Good morning, Savannah.
Hey, Rennie, part of the challenge with this vaccine rollout is getting over that mental hurdle. Some healthcare workers who do qualify are hesitant to get the shots because of this fear of the unknown, along with some misinformation. Now, there are no widespread severe side effects from the vaccine. It's been tested on thousands of people and vetted by independent experts. Now, local leaders are trying to settle this uneasiness by sharing successful vaccination stories. 5 on Your Side spoke with a local assisted care living facility that is working to ease concerns for about half of their staff members.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories flying around on social media. We're going to lead by example. So our management team is going to get vaccinated first.
Now, we will learn more about the distribution in the county at Sam Page's briefing at 8:30 this morning. Also, across the river, we're learning a little bit more about how they will be distributing things over there. We've learned that Madison County is adding the Gateway Center to the list of distribution locations. We've also learned that the general public must fill out an online survey before they get in line. Reporting live from Clayton, Savannah Louie, 5 on Your Side.
Savannah, thanks. Still to come, are you waiting on your stimulus money? It could be coming, but in a different form. We're going to tell you what to be on the lookout for.
Cold and cloudy at the bus stop for the kiddos this morning, but we'll see some sunshine later on. Temperatures today still cold in the 30s, but we've got a nice warming trend for the week ahead. We're back to show you.
Topping your morning rush, a 16-year-old is now fighting for his life after being shot in North St. Louis County. Police found the wounded teen inside a car that crashed at Christian Northeast Hospital over the weekend. He was shot on nearby El Sabato Drive. Someone was driving him to the hospital when that car crashed. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. A St. Louis County police dispatcher accused of using a racial slur to refer to a black police sergeant on police radio has been suspended. The County Police Association released a statement condemning the actions. Sources tell 5 on Your Side that the dispatcher in question is related to Chief Mary Barton. An internal investigation is now underway. In a few hours, Missouri Governor Mike Parson will take the oath of office on the steps of the Missouri Capitol. Starting at 11:30 this morning, Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe, Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, and State Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick will also be sworn in. And the historical tours at the fabulous Fox Theater are now on hold. They've been suspended due to escalations of the pandemic. The limited tours will be suspended until further notice.
Still ahead here on Today in St. Louis, crying foul after President Trump and his extreme supporters get kicked off social media websites if their claims of First Amendment violations are fair.
It's at the wall, it is gone! A 2-1 win! It's double
Tune in to Sports Plus, Sunday at 10:30 p.m.
Next year's PGA Championship will no longer take place at Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey. Yesterday, its board voted to terminate its agreement. The PGA says holding the event there would damage its brand. The Trump organization responded saying the decision is a, quote, breach of a binding contract, and PGA doesn't have the right to terminate it.
A second Capitol police officer has died in the wake of last week's riots. Officer Howard Liebengood responded to the riots. He died off duty and his death has not been disclosed, or how he died has not been disclosed. This comes as dozens of people have been arrested in connection with the Capitol riot. Law enforcement are now reviewing social media to find more suspects and asking for the public's help.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's team is asking Vogue to replace the photo that it has for an upcoming cover. The staff was apparently blindsided when the picture leaked on Twitter. Critics say it's too casual. The leaked cover features her in a black suit and sneakers. Harris's team did not approve that image for the photo spread, let alone the cover. The agreed-upon image shows Harris in a light blue suit.
If you haven't gotten your stimulus yet, be on the lookout for that check to come in the form of prepaid debit cards. The U.S. Treasury Department says about 8 million payments will happen this way and that the cards are headed out this week. They will come in a marked envelope with a U.S. Treasury seal on it, so please do not toss that out.
If you follow President Trump on Twitter, you've probably noticed that he is banned from the platform. Twitter says they shut down the account over the risk of further incitement of violence. Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram have also banned the president. Since the bans, there's been a lot of chatter about whether it violates the First Amendment. Our Verify team dug into this issue. Here's what they found.
President Trump was banned on multiple social media sites this week, with both Twitter and Facebook saying the president had incited violence and violated their terms of service. In response, many, including Donald Trump Jr., are saying that these actions violate the First Amendment by banning free speech. So we're verifying. Are social media companies violating the First Amendment when they ban or block someone from their platform? Our sources are the First Amendment, a report by the Congressional Research Service, and Jay Bender, a former law professor and current attorney for the South Carolina Broadcast Association. The answer is no. Bender explained that the First Amendment limits the government's power.
The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law. That means that nothing the federal government does can restrict speech, press, religion, assembly, and petition.
But what about private companies? Is Twitter also governed by the First Amendment?
No, but since Twitter is, as I understand it, a private entity and not related to the government, it can accept or reject speech as it sees fit.
This Congressional Research Service report explains that courts have uniformly concluded that the First Amendment does not prevent social media providers from restricting users' ability to post content on their networks. Bottom line, the First Amendment only applies to the government. Private companies can block or restrict whomever they like, even the president, and claims that they're violating the First Amendment here are false. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Let's talk some sports, and it was a wild weekend in the NFL. The wild card round of the playoffs featuring a wild one in Pittsburgh. The Browns shocking the football world. The Browns in the postseason for the first time in 18 years, and they make the most of it. They score 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. Good enough to strike a pose, huh? The Browns put up 48 points in the game, Baker Mayfield tossing 3 touchdowns. Although Nick Chubb does most of the legwork on this pass catch and carry, the Browns won 48-37. It is their first road playoff win since 1968. By the way, I was 4 years old at that time. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson is a dangerous guy with the football in his hands. Just ask the Titans about that. He drops back to pass against them on Sunday and decides to use his legs instead of his arm. Good decision. He runs 48 yards for the touchdown. The Ravens won 20-13. So here's your AFC playoff matchup for next weekend. The Ravens will fly off to play conference number 2 seed Buffalo. You can catch that game right here on 5 on Your Side on Saturday night. The Browns will be at the AFC's top seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, on Sunday. Over in the NFC on Sunday, it was the Saints and the Bears. Drew Brees is 41 years old, but the guy can still scramble. Latavius Murray fell down on the play, got back up, made the catch, and he scored. Great effort, but this is your play of the game. Check out that one-handed grab by Jimmy Graham. Not bad, huh? But it wasn't enough for Chicago. The Saints won the game 41-9. So next weekend in the NFC, there is going to be a great one. Drew Brees of the Saints hosting Tom Brady and his Bucks. That game is on Sunday. Meanwhile, on Saturday, the Rams play at the Green Bay Packers. The Ohio State Buckeyes making the trip to Miami, Florida, where the college football season comes to an end tonight. The third-ranked Buckeyes will face number 1 Alabama for the national championship. Now, Ohio State won the crown back in 2015, but since that time, Bama has won the championship twice and played for it 4 times. Kickoff tonight is set for 7 o'clock.
So all my Bama fans would get mad if I said War Eagle. I know that for a fact. If you're traveling 270, yet again we have another crash. This one's going to be eastbound at West Florissant, and you can see they just zoomed in on it. It is over on the shoulder. That's the second one of the day. Fortunately, not like the first one we had, where westbound all lanes were closed before 5 a.m. Here's the view. 270 at Ladue, north and southbound in West County, looking good. 370 St. Louis Mills, and then our view at 44 in Lewis. There was a stall in the westbound direction. Otherwise, coming out of North County or Illinois, you look good up towards 170, taking that into Clayton. St. Charles County, you can see a stall here on 364 and also 370, and then 70 eastbound around Wentzville Parkway. But again, a lot of those on the shoulder. Festus drivers heading north on 55, coming across 141. 44 looking good through that Fenton area. Little delay right around Lindbergh and Gravois. And then for our drivers heading in from Illinois, here's a live look for you at the Poplar Street Bridge. All right, Anthony, not too bad traffic-wise. How about weather?
Well, weather is cold this morning, and we're still cloudy, but by this afternoon, I'd say about 1 o'clock, we'll start to see sunshine after 4 days of cloudiness and very cold weather. So the jet stream is taking a big dip across the south. In fact, that's where it is this morning. You had snow over the weekend across parts of Texas, and now that area of low pressure is moving on. You've got snow this morning from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, all the way up towards Tennessee. And whenever you're on the northern end of a polar jet stream, and that's what this is, you get that cold air in place, and that's where we're experiencing this cold weather. The jet stream starts to lift north this week, and eventually will bring in warmer weather, and that warmer weather sitting right across Southern California and the desert Southwest. So this air mass moves our way over the couple of days coming up, and we'll actually have temperatures climb into the 50s as soon as tomorrow for some of us. We're going 49 for the high tomorrow, so I don't want to be too optimistic, but once we get into Wednesday and Thursday, yeah, low to mid 50s on the way with sunshine, something to look forward to. So we're still cloudy this morning from Highland. You can see there even down towards Farmington, cloudy views for you in O'Fallon, Illinois, and right here in downtown. The numbers are cold, all below freezing, so do be careful this morning. Haven't had any precipitation over the last several days, so the roads are dry, but it's just the very cold air that's in place. Mid-20s, you factor in the wind chill, and it feels like we're in the teens for some of us. So bundle up, especially for the little ones at the bus stop this morning. Temperatures this afternoon in the mid-30s, and we'll see some sunshine this afternoon as the winds today will be light out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10. Tomorrow, the winds pick up a little more, and that brings in some warmer weather again as the jet stream starts to lift north. And once we get into Wednesday, here's a peek at what we'll be looking at for temperatures. About 55 degrees by then, maybe even upper 50s out towards Kansas City. By Thursday, a cold front approaches, bringing in more clouds, but we're still mild in the 50s. But by Friday and the weekend, temperatures cool off back into the 30s by Saturday and Sunday. So here's the next 7 days. A nice break from some of that cold weather we had over the weekend. By tomorrow, we're up to 49, 53 on Wednesday, and 52 on Thursday. Back into the 30s for the upcoming weekend.
Coming up next on Today in St. Louis, controversy surrounding Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, the effort by a fellow Missourian to kick him off of Capitol Hill. More look at your top stories, starting with the most recent fallout for Missouri Senator Josh Hawley.
I'm Ryan Dean in downtown St. Louis, where the calls over the last 48 hours for Josh Hawley to resign are getting louder. There was a protest over the weekend right where I'm standing near the old courthouse. At one point, the words "Resign Hawley" were painted on the street. Today, Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush of Missouri says she will push to expel members of Congress who tried to overturn the election. Josh Hawley quiet over the weekend, but last week he condemned the Capitol riots and said he has no plans to resign.
Taking a live look this morning at Capitol Hill, where the House could take action to impeach President Trump as soon as today. More Republicans are calling for President Trump to resign. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is also pushing for Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. All morning, we have been asking you if you think the president should be impeached. Here's a final look now at what you said. About 80% of you say yes, the president should be impeached. 20% of you say he should not.
I'm Savannah Louie reporting in Clayton as we're seeing a new issue creep into the vaccine rollout. Healthcare workers say they feel reluctant to get it due to fear of the unknown and misinformation. Leaders are trying to settle the uneasiness by sharing success stories and by getting vaccinated first. Sam Page will address vaccine distribution in the county today at 8:30.
All right, this morning we're cloudy across Missouri and Illinois, but we will see some sunshine. It's a cold one, though. Numbers are in the low to mid 20s right now. 26 seems to be the general number from Wildwood to Baldwin down towards Arnold and Afton. 25 right here in downtown. As we go through the day, sunshine finally making an appearance, so put a little exclamation point there. 38 for the high today, 53 by Wednesday.
All right, Anthony, and we're following a couple of incidents. 270, you can see as you travel in the eastbound direction at West Florissant, that crash over on the shoulder. However, we have an issue of a report of a person struck. That's going to be on Carondelet at I-55. We'll follow that and bring you the latest in a half hour.
And as we say goodbye on this Monday morning, we want to say good morning to the good folks at St. Charles. It's a live look right now from your backyard. That's the Ameristar Casino. We'll be right back here at 10 o'clock this morning with more of your news and weather. Join us then. Have a great Monday, everybody.